Hi, I'm Greg Euland with Reynolds & Reynolds, and this is Connected. Today I get to sit down and talk with Joe Pytel. He's the general manager at LaFontaine Volkswagen Dearborn and LaFontaine Hyundai of Dearborn, up in Dearborn, Michigan. Joe, thanks so much for joining me today.
Greg, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and appreciate your partnership, the LaFontaine Auto Group, obviously a large group in the greater Detroit area, but really across the state of Michigan at this point. And your guys' partnership with us has been great, a great one, I think, for both. But wanted to dive in today and talk about this launch event that we had last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, at Volkswagen Group of America's regional office in Dearborn. Up in Auburn Hills. They're a little further north up in Auburn Hills. And you partnered with them on what I think is a really innovative way to take service to your customers. Why don't you share a little bit? I'll let you tell the story kind of about the launch event, what you guys are doing, and how you're executing it.
So the launch event was great. Obviously went seamless. But I mean, there was a lot of work going into this program. So this was a couple years in the making, honestly. So the relationship with Volkswagen Group of America, the relationship with Reynolds & Reynolds and the GoMoto team has been seamless as well. But I mean, we had our hurdles, right? There was IT issues, getting the kiosk set up, we basically took a corner of their cafeteria and made it into exactly what you said, a mobile service kiosk for the employees of that building. Turned out pretty cool. And basically it's pretty simple. I mean, everybody has a busy schedule these days. You go to work, whether you're working in the 9 to 5 or putting in the long haul, it's hard to make time sometimes to service your vehicle. A lot of people are making time for their kids, whether it be sporting events or just life events in general. So the whole initiative to this is just make things seamless, convenient, and efficient for the customer. So, I mean, this partnership was basically the pilot program for Volkswagen Group of America. This is the first one. So we are servicing their employees in Auburn Hills, Michigan. And it's pretty simple. I mean, once you see the kiosk, it's pretty slick. But I mean, it offers anything from just digital check-in. Offers anything from digital check-in, remote key drop-off, like customer walks up to the kiosk, signs in, signs up for whatever maintenance that they want, and basically drops their key in a box. The box pops open, they set their keys in there, shut it, locks secured, they go on with their workday. How we treat it on our end, we have a dedicated service advisor, basically just handles it like a web appointment. I mean, that's the way it comes through. So obviously they're scheduled in advance and then we prep for it. So right now we're visiting on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we'll prep the morning of, we'll make sure we have all the supplies for the appointments that are scheduled, and we'll get our guy on the road and he'll head up there and pick them off one by one, and service work's getting done while, the employees at Volkswagen are hard at work.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And just to add a little color, I love how you guys are executing it. So first of all, I mean, drive time from your store, right, in Dearborn up to Auburn Hills, I mean, that's a good 40, 45 minutes?
45 to an hour, yeah.
Yeah. So is that pretty typical for you? And we'll come back to, Volkswagen in just a second. But is that typical for you in your general mobile service when you're, outside of this particular program? Because you guys have been doing mobile service at your Volkswagen store beyond just this. I mean, you've been doing it for a while, correct?
Correct. We've had the unit for a while, but we were really engaged in this. This was kind of our pilot as well. We have been doing other mobile service work. But if you're familiar with the area, we're about 12 minutes from Detroit Metro.
Yep.
So, I mean, we can dive into that too. So as far as mobile service goes, we service a lot of rental car companies. We're paired up with one of the large ones now. So we do fill time in between, the appointments at the Auburn Hills campus with work such as that. So like right now, the mobile service unit was at the airport just yesterday, and we have 68 cars that just need simple recalls. But, the rental car companies need it done. And at the end of the day, we don't want 68 rental cars jam in the lot just for simple recalls. So it's actually been really efficient. We go out there and, we might be taking care of software updates or just simple engine cover recalls. And then we just communicate with the rental car company. We find a couple other cars that might have, say, like an electronic brake control, something that we need to bring it into the shop and then facilitate transportation or logistics from there. And, it's a good go. So.
That makes a lot of sense, and that seems like another good partnership. So I want to put a pin in that one. We can come back to it because I think there is something there to dig maybe a little deeper on. But circling back around to the Volkswagen facility up in Auburn Hills, obviously it's a drive, which is really why I would assume, at least, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I assume that's why you want to have set days that you're up there. And with that, you think about the process from a consumer's perspective. It seems like a no-brainer, and especially also your target audience is perfect because obviously a vast majority of the folks working at Volkswagen are going to drive a Volkswagen. So, having that audience there is outstanding. And I think it's really good placement, and it's great that you could partner with VW on that. But you think about the individual, the consumer, and they schedule an appointment. They can schedule it online if they want to, I assume. And then they come and they check in at the kiosk, right? And they drop their keys in the box like you described. And your technician comes up, grabs the keys, does the service on the vehicle. They even, if I remember right, they even set aside part of their parking lot just for mobile service. So you have kind of your own area where people can just park their cars there. Your guys work on them in that specific area. Once the work's done, they basically send them an invoice electronically, right? They pay the bill from the phone or whatever it might be. And then they get off of work, they pick up their keys, and their car's waiting for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's even more convenient than that. When you look at even the location of the kiosk to the location of the actual service work being done. So like I said earlier, this kiosk is right in their cafeteria. So they don't have to plan it. They can be down for lunch and, hey, I do need an oil change, or hey, I did get a recall notification. They can just run over to the kiosk. It's not a long process. They sign in, set the appointment, and then, really the only thing is they just got to make sure, if they set an appointment for Tuesday, they just got to make sure that they make it down to the cafeteria Tuesday morning and drop the keys. And like I said, at the store level, we're prepping early in the morning. We have all the appointments set up. We're getting all the supplies loaded into the mobile service unit, and then we're on the road. And then we show up and there's really no hiccups. The technician goes into the cafeteria, has access to the building, can go pull key by key and just knock out one service at a time. But what's also cool is the location of the service. So their cafeteria does have access to like an outside patio area that also leads to the parking lot. And that's pretty much the area that they designated for us. So again, this doesn't take up a lot of room. It's literally just a few designated spots. We do ask that they park in that vicinity, but otherwise, we typically know the location of the vehicle. So he goes and grabs it. And then we do have a little bit of a setup process. We want to keep everything, as neat and orderly as possible. So, he does carry a large tarp with him, lays it down nice and neat. He does have a mobile tent that he puts up. So we can perform these services even if there is, a little bit of rain going on. And then, we are for like typical oil changes. On the vehicles that we are able to suction the oil out, we are doing that. Obviously, we do have to put some, up on ramps or jacks and drain the oil. So the tarp's there just in case. But we keep everything nice, orderly, and neat, and it's pretty smooth operation.
That's great. So when you're thinking about mobile service, and this is a push, a lot of manufacturers, but also dealers, there's an opportunity here. So for you, how do you run it? Let me ask it a different way. How do you limit your services, right? So when somebody wants mobile service, you obviously can't do everything that you can do in the store. You can do a lot of stuff. You can fit as long as you have the right tools, you can do a lot of stuff. But, are there limitations, and how do you determine those limitations when setting up your mobile service program?
Yeah, so in a situation like we're going out to Auburn Hills, obviously we just, limit the amount of appointments per day. But in a full day, there's more time than appointments typically. We're able to accommodate everybody. in, another scenario where say we're going to an airport and we're trying to knock out 60 cars,
Yeah.
we just spend the day. So.
Yeah. And are there services that you want to, like, is it mostly maintenance? Is that fair to, like, maintenance and recalls? Is that kind of the bread and butter for mobile service? Or, how in depth on repairs are you getting into with mobile service?
Yeah, you're spot on. It's basically mainly for maintenance and light recalls. So at Auburn Hills, what we're offering, because again, when you see this kiosk and you start using it from the customer perspective, it's super simple to use. Everything's itemized. They can select their service, but basically we're offering oil change, tire rotations, wiper blades, cabin filters, engine filters, and then the light recall work that we were talking about. We also offer Volkswagen's 10K service, which is, just an oil change. Plus, we do a video MPI on every
Yeah.
vehicle for the customer. We also offer the 20K, so we can facilitate that, which is the oil change and their engine and cabin filters. The only thing that we're not able to do at this point is the 30K, but given the nature of a lot of these are, fleet company vehicles, we're not servicing that.
Yeah, not getting there. So tell me more about the MPI, because that was something that I was interested in too, is, how does mobile service, or have you noticed a difference between maybe acceptance of recommendations in mobile service versus in the dealership? Also, when you think about the MPI, I'm assuming you're not getting as clear of a view underneath the vehicle, right? That a technician would, having it on a rack. He's probably getting under it to take a look and try to see any leaks, I would assume. But I don't know. What are the differences, I guess, in that MPI process, that walk around process, in store versus mobile?
It's not much different other than we're not working on a hoist. So obviously he is
Yeah.
limited to what he can do, but that is also part of kind of setting up shop as I was talking about with the tarp and the tent, keeping his workspace clean and orderly so we're not rolling around on the asphalt and then getting in the customer's car to move it. So he is working in a clean environment. He is able to get under the vehicle and provide a good video MPI.
No, that's great. That's great. And have you noticed, and maybe you haven't, I'm just kind of curious, have you noticed a difference in upsell percentage, for those MPI recommendations? Have you seen a difference in store and in the mobile environment?
So in the mobile environment, not so much because again,
Yeah.
we are focusing on more maintenance and just light recall work. In shop, absolutely. I mean, I could go on about this, but yeah, 100% believer in video MPI. We operate at over 90% video multi-points for our customers. They love it, pushes retention. I mean, we've had multiple scenarios where customer comes in for just one simple diagnosis. They don't know what's going on. We take care of that for them, send them the video MPI. We've literally had customers pay for what they came in for, walk out to the parking lot. We watch them not even leave the parking lot, walk right back in and ask for a quote on, the recommendations that the technician gave in the video. And again, sometimes it's a long-term play. Like they might not, accept that service, but typically like in that particular scenario, they were back within a week, getting more services done to their vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's such an important piece of the puzzle. It will be interesting. We'll have to follow up and see, if, especially as your mobile service gets more and more developed, right, more and more mature, if you kind of find best practices on certain areas to look, or different things that can help you increase the upsell percentage in that mobile service too. Obviously, it's a big part of everything that you do in the back end of the store, right? I mean, you don't want those one-line ROs, and you don't want small tickets. You want to be able to make sure that you're taking care of the customer and you're finding things that need to be repaired, so that they're not caught off guard. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see over time how especially your mobile service techs and advisors develop those skills to add more and more services too.
Yeah, but what's one thing that's actually really cool about what you're leaning into is, yeah, we'll find our way. It's a learning curve for both parties. But one thing that's really cool about our operation, and especially the partnership up in Auburn Hills, is the technician that's doing it. You look at the technician that's doing it. I mean, he's a guy that's been with us 8 years. He started as a porter. He made his way up to shop helper, and now we're utilizing him in the mobile unit. So, we're exposing him to actually doing the video multi-points. We're exposing him to talk to customers sometimes, because we are getting a lot, like I said, where the service work is actually being taken place. There's been times he's out there, our service manager goes out to visit, and he's got an audience. There's people
Yeah.
out there at lunch, whatever, taking a break, and they're watching him work on cars. So it's good exposure for him, great experience. We're using this to kind of get him to the next level where he can get some certs and become a flat rate tech. So it's also it's got its training aspect too.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's a great thought process of just leveraging it as a tool, a developmental tool to grow somebody, right? To grow a person. And that's pretty awesome. I like that idea. And yeah, you're right. It's so funny, mobile service, if you're working on a vehicle in the shop, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder, right? That you don't have anything that makes you feel like you got to make sure you're doing it right. But you're doing it in a parking lot. You're doing it in somebody's driveway. Right. And they're out there and they want to see what you're doing and they want to make sure that they understand what's going on. And then they have questions. And it's just a different environment to be working, it is a different dynamic. It's interesting.
Yeah, and it's been really cool to see him grow into that role and, accept those responsibilities. So, like I said, it's great experience for him. And, there's more benefits than maybe just an upsell on, a single customer. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. So Joe, how did this partnership with your dealership and Volkswagen come to fruition? Like, did they approach you? Did you I don't even know, because it just seems like such a great, and to be fair, you guys being LaFontaine Auto Group with kind of your physical location in the Detroit kind of metro area, obviously you have a lot of manufacturers with facilities nearby. So that helps, right, with these types of partnerships. But how did it kind of come to fruition where it's like, this just makes sense. Let's see if we can make this work.
oh, I'm glad you asked. This is a fun one. Might ruffle some feathers. But obviously, as we mentioned before, Auburn Hills is actually out of our PMA. But when this first, like I said, this has been a couple years in the making. So Volkswagen took all the right steps and approached the dealers that were closest to Auburn Hills first. I don't know if it was just too early on. I don't know what the case was.
Sure.
But there was a couple dealers that turned this opportunity down. And I mean, if you know anything about LaFontaine Automotive Group, we're very progressive. We're very forward thinking. So we said, absolutely. We hopped on board. We hopped all the hurdles hand in hand, with the Volkswagen team, and accepted the opportunity. We facilitated purchasing the mobile unit. We outfitted it, it's the all nine, it's got the wrap. We got every single tool in there that's necessary for the services that we offer with the mobile unit. So again, it's been a work in progress, but now that we're here and across the line and we're up and running, it's been a great experience.
So is this partnership, was this kind of the catalyst for you to get into mobile service, at least at your Volkswagen store?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. But you've been doing mobile service. You mentioned actually, so let's dive into the idea of rental cars too, because that one just struck me as, well, that makes complete sense. That's a great use case for a mobile unit, right? If you have an airport close by, or not even an airport, just a decent sized rental facility, and you can service those vehicles. What a great partnership. So thinking about that one too, how did that come about? Again, if I'm a dealer, right, and I have a store with, even if it's just a decent enterprise location near me, which probably is most dealers, how do you approach them? Which was that just, hey, let's go out or make a call and see if they're interested in us handling their maintenance at their facility? Like, I don't know, how did that come about?
Yeah, and I can't even take credit for this one. My service manager, Eric Burgess, I mean, he's all over it. So, he's always looking for an opportunity to expand. So, again, yes, we have the convenience of having a major metro airport 10, 15 minutes away from us. So, again, it's obvious, right? That's our opportunity. So, we've been able to attack that, and it's been a good partnership. But, again, it's just scratching the surface. You could look at large employers, hospitals, anything like that. where we can dip into that business and offer these services. So again, does the partnership with GoMoto and Volkswagen is just, again, the pilot to scratch the surface it's a win-win, right? Volkswagen's piloting this program, gaining experience, making best use of this kiosk, seeing what the wins and the losses are. And on our end, we're just growing and learning as we go as well. And like I said, there's major opportunity out there. It's just, what are we going to go after? What are we going to capture? And how are we going to do it?
Yeah. And it seems like, it is such a great opportunity for any business with a large office facility, any business park. Even you could look at potentially like a mall type of location, right? If there's a lot of people there and they're going to be there for any amount of time, could something like that work too? So I don't know. It's really interesting the possibilities as you kind of get your feet underneath you with this Volkswagen pilot and this offer or this opportunity to work with them on where you can take this, right? Where you can expand this and what you can do with it. Personally, I think it's a really cool idea. I tip my hat to you guys for working together to make it happen, and I'm glad that we can help facilitate it. But I see a great opportunity, and I hope that you are able to expand it. But it sounds like you already are, just looking for those ways to leverage your mobile service unit and your technician.
Yeah, and that's just us at a store level. I mean, Volkswagen has plans to go to other properties that they own, other offices that they own. I think that's step one for them. And then I know they're already looking at other major metro markets. So again, this can be utilized in many ways. The kiosk kind of brings it all together. It's truly the most convenient, seamless way to go about this. So I guess we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Just thinking about that partnership with rental car companies and that life cycle of the vehicle. I'm interested in, if you've gotten there yet where, you sell the fleet basically to the rental car company, you maintain the fleet while it's at their facility with your mobile service units. And then when they're ready to sell those units, you can purchase them back to sell them as used vehicles. I don't know. Have you gotten there yet? Is that kind of in the works or in your mind at all as an opportunity?
I like where you're going with this. Yes, we do business with the rental car companies. But hey, they say service sells the car, right? So we're starting there. So it's not the major account. Onesie, twosie, we do have a great relationship on that end as well. But we're not selling the entire fleet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah. There's always opportunities. You just got to find them, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Joe, I definitely want to be super respectful of your time. I appreciate you copping on and shedding some light on this. I'm so excited about the partnership. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I'm impressed with the way you're executing it. But before we hop off, is there anything that we haven't touched on that we should, or any questions that I haven't asked that maybe I should have dove into?
I don't know. I think that we covered it quick, but I think we covered it all.
Good. Well, Joe Pytel, General Manager at LaFontaine Volkswagen Dearborn and LaFontaine Hyundai. I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your partnership. And hopefully we can catch up and do it again sometime soon.
Absolutely, Greg. Thanks for having me. And yeah, let's do some follow-up.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Man, I love what Joe and his team are doing up there at LaFontaine Volkswagen Dearborn, and I really appreciate him taking time to share. Hopefully you got some good ideas out of that one. I like what they're doing. They are progressive. They are creative. And I'm excited to see where this opportunity they have goes with Volkswagen of America. Great partners for us, and really excited about what's in store for them. Before we hop off, don't forget you can watch or listen to all episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. And make sure to hit subscribe so you're notified every other week when new episodes are released. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.